before with YouTube's new screen, so it's still going through.
Says it's streaming live on YouTube right now.
It does. Hopefully it's like the actual thing, though. All right, cool. It kind of says live, but I'm going to mute that. And maybe, yeah, it's not on the same link, so I got to go back to my live thing now. Go to stream. Nope. Okay, well, I'll just use my other screen then for this. And then I will get the link and I will share it appropriately. Awesome. And now I'm going to announce on to everybody going live to discuss Prince Harry and Meghan Markle family drama via Jungian psychology. Pop control, yeah, post. Then I'm going to go to my CS Joseph page. I'm going to post to there as well. Posting there. And then I'm going to also, then I'm also going to go into my group real quick. Public group. Just to get people here. I'm going to post. Hey, here we are. There it is. That's posted there. Twitter. Tweeted. We've tweeted. And on Discord now, as I'm spreading chaos on Discord for everyone. Yeah. Here we go. All right. Nice. I think we have just summoned the horde. And here we are. Wow, totally thought you had beer flu. Thank you, Asher Foskey, for that lovely thing. Couple of things before we begin. I thank you, Mr. Anthrax. Couple of things. I would like to give the first thing on the list is I would like to give a shout out to Hybe, aka Hibernator. He informed me that I was not getting to his Ruby questions on time due to a technical and human error failure on our part of the CSJ team. And I'd like to publicly apologize to Mr. Hybe for not getting to his Ruby questions on time and to state that I will not be making such a mistake again in the future. We take our Ruby patrons very seriously in getting their questions answered. So I sent you an email, sir, explaining the situation, and hopefully you're satisfied with that. And if necessary, I give you a coaching coupon for a free session. So hopefully that's cool. Otherwise, also, I am planning on dropping season 19, episode 15 tonight, Cognitive Development for ISFPs, to gold tier and above patrons. So check that out as well. Otherwise, this live stream is here. We're just doing something new. We're bringing back Jay, and we're going to be having lots of fun tonight. Yep. This is Jay's show, and he's got something fantastic for us to present to us tonight. So I'm kind of a bystander, but we'll be directly and actively involved in the show. But Jay, what do you have for us tonight? What'd you come up with?
Well, you're never a bystander, Chase, but we thought that we would do something a little bit current events, something not COVID-19 related.
Oh, I know, right?
Something to do while we're all kind of sequestered.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Yes.
Miss Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and their relationship with the royal family, and all that's transpired.
Yeah, I love the magazine there, bro.
Yeah. Her amazing new life.
Yeah.
And, with exclusive details. I gotta tell you though, I was quite embarrassed going through the checkout line with a copy of Us Weekly. It's not what I normally do.
Hey man, when you take one for the team, you take one for the team, man. I totally get it. How embarrassing it must be for the royal family with their affiliative authoritarian
Oh,
point of view right now, and then all of a sudden to have Donald J. Trump out of nowhere say recently, "Hey guys, just so you know, we're not going to pay for your security detail. You're going to have to pay for it too." And I'm thinking to myself, is that really necessary? Maybe it was necessary. I don't know. I mean, I
well,
didn't I didn't think that they were that entitled. I mean, I think them leaving the royal family is proof of lack of entitlement, but I don't apparently Trump didn't want to be generous.
well, no, I think, I don't think they even asked him yet. I think that's just his way to insert himself in the conversation,
Oh yeah, never
Um,
allow a crisis or a PR stunt to go to waste, you know what I'm saying?
but it is I don't know, it's kind of fascinating to me for a number of reasons. And I don't know why. I follow the royal family a little bit. I'm not, uh, I've done a lot of genealogy. I can trace back into the royal family, way back into the Tudor times. But I don't know, there's just this little affinity. So Meghan Markle comes into the picture, which I was so happy about. Someone like her being able to come in, modernize the family, and whatnot. But it's not turned out the way any of us thought, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's funny because I've heard so many different points of view that the press has been putting out there. Like apparently Meghan Markle is insanely entitled, or she's like this huge symbol for the feminist movement, or she's anti-feminist. It just depends who you ask.
Right.
Like to the point where I'm actually confused as to what people actually believe about the
Yeah.
situation.
Well, and I'm confused because of what was she really expecting when she married into the royal family in the first place? I mean, she gives the reasons of the paparazzi, the notoriety. They want to live a normal life, but yet they're moving to Hollywood. They want to be celebrities. So I don't get it. I don't know where. I'd be curious to the with the audience what they think on this too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, audience members, we're gonna be pretty active in the live chat a little bit tonight, as near as I can tell. And if you guys have any input you'd like to suggest, we'll make this a discussion. But if I'm gonna offer my 2 cents,
Oh gosh.
we all know that Meghan Markle, she's an ESTP. We also know that Prince Harry is an ESFJ. So they have a little bit interesting relationship. They have decent sexual compatibility because extroverted sensing hero is with SI parent, and any child is with NI inferior. And and Harry just sees himself as this dutiful, strong man who's just given his wife all the freedom of choice in the world, and he's just doing his duty by her. And from Meghan Markle's point of view, it's like, hey, you better not take away my freedom of choice, or my any demon's going to explode and lay waste to everything in my path. Okay, sure, fair enough. But like, it's kind of interesting because it's like, hey, I don't want to be a part. Is the narrative really all about like, oh, I don't want to be the celebrity anymore, and then because of the royal family notoriety and paparazzi, and then all of a sudden they're moving to Hollywood? Or is it more about the fact that Megan's like, I'm not going to let the royal family make my choice for me. I'm going to make my choice, and I'm still a celebrity anyway because I'm already technically an actress. So what am I going to do about it? And then just kind of make my own way, and it is the way I'm going to do it. And I mean, is it really a contradiction, or is it really just I'm just doing what I want, damn it, and I don't really care what anyone else thinks? Who knows?
Right. Well, I think that she wanted to. I really believe she wanted to be part of the royal family in the beginning. She underestimated the tradition, the protocol, just constraining on her as an ESTP. She had to wear certain hats, she had to dress certain ways, she had to behave constantly. I mean, it's almost like a total denial of her personal freedom. So I get it. I get that as an ESTP who values freedom so much, she rebelled against that. Where I get a little crosswise with it though is they almost want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to get away from all that, but they didn't want the responsibility that comes with being royal, but they wanted the wealth, the notoriety, the celebrity, and they wanted to capitalize on it. And so I don't know, that's a little rough for me to deal with. I mean, you can't have both ways. That's me though.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like my opinion on it right now is Harry and Meghan got together. Meghan and Harry actually do have an actual real marriage where they actually love each other. He is definitely willing to die for her. Absolutely. No greater love than when a man gives up his life for his beloved. I tell women, especially my coaching clients, hey, don't have sex with a man unless he's willing to die for you. And I think Harry definitely went forward with that. Her as a hero locked onto that, and he's definitely a good man and a man worth respecting as a result. While I would venture to say that he's probably not the brightest person in the world, he's definitely certainly one of the more loyal and honorable and supportive people in the world, and I think that's definitely something she's going for. Whereas from her point of view, she is one of the brightest people in the world, and she definitely has a lot in common with my ESTP wife. That's for sure. And coming to know my ESTP wife, and within our relationship, because I'm a Crusader type, she's a Templar type. Their relationship is a Crusader, which is Prince Harry, and then she also is a Templar. From that point of view, that same relationship dynamic that I have between myself and Railgun exists, within their relationship as well. And if there's something I could tell you about Railgun is that she won't let anyone take away her freedom of choice. And my personal opinion is that after getting married in the royal family, I think Meghan Markle actually experienced culture shock. Yes. And because then all of a sudden she's a very pragmatic person, always had her freedom of choice, always doing what she wants, etc., and used to having that freedom. And then all of a sudden, because of introverted sensing, affiliative, SJ tradition that exists within the royal family. I mean, I'll be honest. I watched the Netflix series The Crown, so like I'm pretty well versed in the royal family, if I do say so myself. No, just kidding. But even if that show was actually based on any remote truth whatsoever in terms of what the royal family exists, the royal family itself, as the monarchy within the United Kingdom, is an affiliative SJ guardian institution based on tradition and based on what you are expected to do and to do the right thing. And quite honestly, my gut tells me it's literally Meghan Markle versus the Queen. The Queen is expecting her to behave in a certain way. And Meghan's like, that's taking away my freedom of choice. You can F off. And I'm going to go and take my loyal husband with me, and you can't stop me.
Yeah.
And, people, and what I've seen as a result of that is people are like, hey, why are, the media just is absolutely just, they're just shoveling a bunch of crap in Meghan's direction, calling her entitled. Oh, apparently all this wealth and glory and whatnot makes her super entitled, and that's just not good enough for her. So she's even more entitled than we thought. Yeah. Or people are saying, no, she's a feminist hero because she's being truly independent, and she's not entitled. She's showing the world that she doesn't have to rely on that, and she's actually not a gold digger. I mean, it just depends who you ask, man. But
it really does. I mean, opinions are one extreme to the other, and if anybody wants to hear one opinion, just pick up a copy of that Us Weekly, where they just think she is on her way and she's done the right thing, and more power to her. And maybe that's true. But you said, Chase, I got a couple questions. You said it's between her and the Queen. Is it really the Queen, or is it the institution? Or do you really think there's how would you type the Queen? What would you put the queen as?
We could type her. We can definitely type her right now in terms of what the queen is. I'm prepared to do that for the audience. We can type her and find out what it is. But my current working theory is that this is absolutely personal between Meghan Markle and the queen, and
Really?
I'm not necessarily the institution.
Really?
That's where I'm at. But you may have resources that may disagree. And remember, guys, the ignorance of introverted thinking is, when you're relying on last known input to make a judgment, there's a risk of ignorance there. And I will admit, I'm making my gut feeling based on last known input. And yeah, so but we could definitely type the queen. It looks like the audience is be like, oh gosh, yes, please type the queen. So I mean, we can do that.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, I think I know what she is. There's not a lot of interviews. She doesn't grant a lot of interviews, and you may just get 1 or 2 minute segments, but I think it's enough to get an idea.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's actually type her. But before I type her, I want to get a question from the audience here. What is the audience guess as to what type the queen is, folks? Let's see what you guys think before we even get started. I have never typed the queen. I really have no idea. I haven't paid enough attention to the queen to be absolutely sure. So, guys, please let Jay and I know. Jay, what's your guess on the type?
I'm going to say an ISFJ.
ISFJ? Really?
ISFJ.
Okay. Wow. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
I guess there's not a lot to go on out there.
Not a lot to go on out there?
Not
oh, shoot. I hope we can find something then. All right. Well, I'm going to look around here. Let's see here. Let's see.
While you're looking, there is one out there, Chase. It was an interview where she's actually gets to look at the crown and she's touching the crown. You'll probably see a picture of it. It's like a 60th anniversary interview of her coronation. So they brought the crown in for her to talk about.
Right.
So that might be a good one.
Okay.
And then there's another one with Richard Attenborough where she's walking in her garden talking.
Richard Attenborough. If you could find the link, by all means. And if you guys also have a good interview for me to look at, throw it in the live chat, guys, and we'll definitely check it out. Let's see. First ever TV sit-down interview. State of opening shows funny side in conversation of, there's Sir David Attenborough. Let's see that one. Queen's advice.
They're real short. Yeah.
Always so short. Wow. Can we not get I mean, like all the other, like Prince William and all that, they have tons of Queen Elizabeth addresses Parliament as Brexit deadline approaches. Interesting. Okay. Let's
you want to try one?
Yeah, this apparently it's got one starting out with Trump here. That's not appropriate. Let's I'm trying to stay away from Trump. Let's move it here. That's just addressing Parliament. I don't want to talk about advice on wearing the crown. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to go into it. Share, and then we're going to share Queen's advice. This one, share the computer sound, share, and hopefully this works for us. And let's do this.
There it is.
The most important items used in the coronation are the monarch's 2 crowns. If the Queen has only worn St Edward's gold crown once...
Oh, she's all inspecting it. Okay.
You see, it's much smaller, isn't it? I mean, it was the same height. You know, it would have been up to about there when my father wore it.
Much smaller.
I mean, it was huge then.
Yes, very unwieldy.
It's difficult.
Very unwieldy. Okay, if we're gonna make the claim that something is unwieldy, I'd imagine that would be a point for introverted sensing. So let me see if I can get this here. We're gonna change. Just doing some kung fu here on the whiteboard.
Oh wow, very nice.
yeah, hopefully this like actually works here. So we're gonna do red. So we're gonna put a point in for SINE so far on that, just for that, and we're gonna switch back to the video again as we go through this. Playing with some new technology tonight, folks. So let's see here, and then we're gonna pop over to. Let's pop over to Queen's advice. Here we go. Because they're describing, when you're saying unwieldy, it's describing an experience that she herself has had with it because she herself has worn the crown. It's like a memory. It's an introverted sensing experience.
Always remember that diamonds are stones, so they're very heavy.
Yes. Fortunately, my father and I have about the same sort of shaped head. But once you put it on, it stays. I mean, it just remains itself.
You have to keep your head very still.
Yes. And you can't look down to read the speech. You have to take the speech up. Because if you did, your neck would break. It would fall off.
Because if you did, your neck would break. It would fall off. Okay, I'm probably going to have to... that kind of sounds like an extrovert sensing point of view there. So let's go back to this other thing here. I'm going to put one down for NISE for that one. Also, I'm going to put a point down for informative. She's not really answering him in a direct manner. She seems to be pretty informative as well. I'm going to put a point down for informative. Let's move on to something. Let's move on back into the video. Just eventually get hotkeys for this, guys. It'll be a lot faster. So, all right, let's keep going.
So there are some disadvantages to crowns, but otherwise they're quite important things.
But otherwise they're quite important things. Okay, that's actually an FITE statement.
She just this kind of minimized. I mean, that crown is priceless, and she's just like, oh, it's just they're kind of important things.
All right, yeah, okay. You might be right that there is a minimization about that, and that it could be seen as an FE self-deprecation. So I'm gonna put down a point for FE then, and oops, wow, it would be helpful if we could actually use the erase button. That would be nice. Yeah, you guys like the new how to type system that we have? We're borrowing a lot of the visual symbology that we have from Ultimate Messaging Formula. We also got some of the new symbols that are not even in Ultimate Messaging Formula. So hopefully this is pretty cool so far. Yeah, but yeah, let's keep going. Let's see, sharing again. Let's go back into this one. Let's move into this one. Queen Elizabeth shows funny side in conversation.
And of all the species he has studied,
shall I go and look?
Yes, do.
Even he will admit his 90 minutes with the Queen in the garden of Buckingham Palace was something quite different.
Prince Andrew, 1969.
That one?
I think so, yes.
And you said you said that was Andrew.
From chatting about the trees the Queen planted for her children to joking about the noise of the helicopters of London.
Sounds like President Trump.
That sounds like President Trump. That's introverted sensing. At least our experience of it. My goodness.
Right. She quickly added Obama there, though, too. I think just to catch herself.
Oh, really? Okay, let's put that in there.
This was a conversation between two 91-year-olds to mark a unique project. Each of the 53 countries of the Commonwealth have been invited to dedicate a forest, from Australia to Africa, from Canada to the Caribbean, where Prince Harry, and concerned about it, despite what she acknowledged to him were her own advancing years.
There will be all kinds of different trees going here in another 50 years, maybe.
Might easily be, yes. I won't be here, though.
I was going to say, a sundial neatly planted in the shade.
Isn't it good? Yes.
Yeah.
Had we thought of that? That it was planted in the shade? It wasn't in the shade originally, I'm sure. But maybe we could move it.
How different was this particular?
Gosh, that kind of sounds pretty extroverted sensing to me. But you know, when you're talking about a tree and whatnot, she definitely seems concrete, at least. So we need a little bit more more video footage than this for sure.
Yeah, there's not
not a lot, huh?
no, she's very
pretty
she's not
concrete
of
there.
interviews. No.
Yeah. Put down a point for concrete. Definitely going to put another one for NISE again. So it's going to be interesting trying to figure out what her perception functions are. But so far, TIFE, but and still informative, not really direct. But I can think sometimes she's like putting on a mask in front of the camera. It's going to be really hard to determine her. It's probably one of the hardest types they've ever done.
That's true. Definitely.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that's true, what you're saying, and definitely concrete.
Yeah. French dinner for the Queen of the Kitchen. So who knows? Gosh, I hope there's more interview footage.
Project.
Oh, utterly different. I mean, I'm not there to...
Well,
He's done it extremely
He's influenced many things in many places. Sir David
stop
Attenborough has
talking.
now shifted a stone sundial.
All right, that's not that great. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
First ever sit-down interview.
It's incredible. I think, you know,
Oh, look, it's Meghan.
to be able to
and
meet
Harry.
her through his lens.
Elizabeth II's coronation, and now the English monarch is sharing her memories from that crowning moment.
there are some disadvantages to crowns, but otherwise, they're quite important things.
The Queen and her very first TV sit-down shows a rather quippy side we've never seen.
You see, it's much smaller, isn't it?
The man chatting with her is historian Alistair Bruce.
The Queen is never interviewed. So we had and made comments, and it was lovely to hear her spontaneously remember.
Like her color commentary about this 1953 fairy tale spectacle. Her gold coach was led by was a bumpy ride.
Horrible. You only go at a walking pace.
Yeah.
The horses couldn't possibly go any faster.
Were you in it for a long time? Probably
Halfway around London.
Her unprecedented
Horses couldn't go possibly faster. It's kind of like a negative connotation of extroverted sensing, don't you think? Yeah, because she's like complaining about a poor experience that she's having.
Yeah. And she says, he asked her how long she was in it. She's, well, halfway around London. So she was not enjoying the ride.
Definitely not. That's another 2 points for introverted sensing, for sure. And I think she kind of still has that self-deprecation nature among, with extroverted feeling. I'm not seeing her, really putting herself out there in terms of, achievements and the like. So definitely seems extroverted feeling as a result. So far she's looking more and more like a crusader. But let's keep going. Hopefully we can get some more out of this. Oh, so new share. There we go. Okay.
TV appearance seems like it fits in with the royal family's recent trend of becoming more relatable.
The Queen has been Queen for...
Also shows a close look at the priceless crown jewel. Queen shows her cheeky side when looking at the imperial state crown.
You can't look down to read the speech. You have to take the speech up. Because if you did, your neck would break. It would fall off.
The royal scepter is topped by the Star of Africa diamond. At 530 carats, it's the largest cut diamond were turned into the brooch the Queen wears in the interview. The top stone is 63 carats and the bottom 94 carats. It is affectionately known as Granny's Chips.
All right, that seems to be the end of that interview. Hopefully we can find something else.
Let's see. What about a Christmas message? I mean, it is a more of a
speech. Yeah. Okay, we could try that. It's also the truth about relationship with kids, delivers Christmas message. Yeah. Queen's Christmas Day address. Is that the same as this one?
Back to Earth. Millions of us sat transfixed to our television screens as we watched Neil Armstrong taking a small step for man and a giant leap for mankind, and indeed for womankind. It's a reminder for us all.
So I think this is a great illustration here, Jay. Like, as we've kind of seen her, within all these interviews, she's extremely composed at all times. I'm movement, I'm progression, you're movement, progression. We move around a lot. We fidget a lot. but I'm not seeing that like ever with her. So I think she's control outcome focused, as a result, just like, doing just a basic comparison, from that standpoint, definitely seems very, very outcome for sure.
And responding.
Yeah.
She's responding.
I would say that she's responding as well. She doesn't exactly. She's always on point. And like when she was in that interview with Sir David Attenborough, like for example, he didn't exactly she didn't exactly initiate any new points that entire time.
Right.
So I think we're pretty sure she is definitely a background type, for absolute sure. So Queen Elizabeth, yeah. Okay, and so yeah, we've definitely identified that she is a background type for sure. Background type. Now the thing is with background types, the majority of them are introverted sensors because you have ISFJ, you have INTP, you have INFP as background types. Since we've identified her communication style here, so she can only be one of these two. But it's pretty obvious that she's pretty much concrete, which would automatically label her an ISFJ at this point. But the TIFE is a little bit difficult to move forward with. It's kind of hard to see because there's just so little about her. Right. Maybe we can look at her addressing Parliament, and maybe that would be something. Let's see.
Or if there was something we could find, it might be difficult when she's a lot younger.
Okay, let's see. A royal wedding. Princess Elizabeth weds Philip. Okay, Prince Philip. Yeah. Queen addresses a nation on Princess Diana. That might be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm going to change my sharing for that screen. Let's go here. And then speech to Parliament. Okay. Awesome. Queen Elizabeth to address both houses. Such a long procession.
Ministers will continue to reduce the country's deficit, helping to ensure that mortgage and interest rates remain low. An updated charter for budget responsibility will be brought forward to ensure that future governments spend taxpayers' money responsibly.
That's so hard to do because it's so scripted. Like everything about her is scripted. I mean, royal family, it's like scriptness. It's just so difficult. Let's see this one.
Since last Sunday's dreadful news, we have seen throughout Britain and around the world an overwhelming expression of sadness at Diana's death. We have all been trying in our different ways to cope. It is not easy to express a sense of loss, since the initial shock is often succeeded by a mixture of other feelings: disbelief, incomprehension, anger, and concern for those who remain.
Wow, that is scripted. You could just see like how uncomfortable she is, how like she's trying, like, I don't know, is she trying hard not to cry? You know what I mean? Or because if I remember correctly, she had a hard time. I mean, or did she have the whole point of view of good riddance because of Diana? Because Diana was pragmatic, just like Meghan Markle.
I know. There's
you know what I mean?
Persons there. I know.
Yeah.
We could explore those because if I remember right, you typed Diana as an ISTP rather than ESTP, and but it's in some ways the same dynamic. Being a Templar, and so interesting.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, though, is that, as the audience has pointed out, like, for example, CC Marie asks, how do you differentiate between her and how much she was coached to be a certain way in her life? And then Lazarus says she has been taught to be very controlled and polite, to keep in mind. The thing is that even if you are taught to be controlled, doesn't matter, because like if you're an STP that's taught to be controlled in that way, you can't let it go. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, remember, guys, when we were typing Princess Diana and we revealed that she was an ISTP, she was very taught to be controlled and whatnot. But even then, your natural ego itself, it will just come out and you can't hide it. It doesn't matter how much conditioning or training you actually have. You just can't do it. And it will ultimately always come out. The particular types of people that have maybe the ability to do it the most are probably NTPs and NFPs. NFPs probably can muster up the self-discipline to be able to do that. I mean, there's a reason why that guy Negreanu, the best poker player, in my opinion, the best poker player in the world, he's an INTP and he's got the best poker face. And, quite frankly, from that point of view, but even though he still, can adjust himself accordingly in the moment, he's still an INTP, and it's pretty obvious. Just like Princess Diana, as pragmatic AF as she was, the difference between Princess Diana and Meghan Markle is that Princess Diana, as an STP, was born into the culture of the royal family. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And because of that, because she was born into the culture of the royal family, I think that just shows you how much the difference between the conditioning that goes along with it. Whereas Meghan Markle, who was not born in that conditioning, she's like very anti culture shock, right? It's just
as much culture as anything. That's right.
Yeah. So what do you think, Jay? Do you think like, if we're going to compare Princess Diana to Meghan Markle, do you really think that the culture, this SJ culture within the royal family and the conditioning thereof could really, do you really think it has such a big impact that their human nature could be completely, I guess, washed out or abolished or removed for the sake of the nurture?
No. The nature is going to come through. The nurture, I think the nurture is going to affect how it comes through, but it's going to come through. And, I mean, if you look back in history, the royal family back to Henry VIII, for example, he was not about tradition. He broke with the Catholic Church, had 6 wives, killed most of them.
Isn't he the reason we have the marriage license? Doesn't the marriage license exist so that he could marry his cousin? Was he that king? Was he that guy?
Yes. I mean,
Really? Okay.
So, and he appointed himself. I'm trying to remember the doctrine, but basically when he broke from the Catholic Church, started the Church of England.
Divine right.
Divine right, yes. The divine right of kings. Yes. You got it. Very good. And then, but even more recently, I'm thinking back to, I guess it is actually, it is Queen Elizabeth's uncle, who was Edward VIII, King Edward VIII. And he, when his father died, he became king, was never coronated. He fell in love with an American, twice divorced. Her name was Wallis Simpson. And he abdicated to marry Wallis Simpson. The reason he abdicated was for love. But he abdicated the throne, so the crown fell to his brother, Queen Elizabeth's father. If her uncle had not abdicated, if it hadn't been for, and I think Edward VIII, I think he was an ESFP myself, but
fair enough.
But it was all for love that he married Wallis Simpson. But that put Queen Elizabeth in line for the throne. And if it wasn't for that, she would never be queen. And when that all happened, and I think she was about 21 years old, she made a speech to the country where she pledged her life to the service of the country, whether her life be long or short. Very memorable speech, but it was all about duty and commitment. That's just where she is naturally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're not there naturally, you're going to struggle in that kind of environment. I don't see how you can't. If you're pragmatic, you're not going to do well there.
Yeah. You know, and just looking back, like, you know, with, you know, how we're actually, like, you know, typing or whatnot, while there isn't a lot of really good information, I think we're really safe in claiming that she is, at a minimum, a background type who is concrete, basically. A background type who is concrete, but also an introverted sensor. So, like, at a minimum, like, looking at what, you know, deductive evidence that we have, we still are coming to the conclusion of ISFJ anyway, or, you know, a crusader. Because if you remember, like, with her interview with David Attenborough, like, she was, like, so concrete, didn't really say anything what if. I don't really even remember her ever making any kind of what if statement. And I think we have, like, some quotes from her recently about her reaction to Harry and Meghan. I don't know if you actually have that handy or not, but we'll probably get into that again and be like, oh, look, more evidence, you know. So but I mean, hey, we can remain, like, in a state of typing the queen as we go through all of the stuff, that all of the resources that you have. But I think for right now, let's just decide from a working theory standpoint that she is an ISFJ at this point. I think that's probably the safest bet based on what little evidence we have. But I think if we have any direct quotes about her and whatnot, I think we'll probably get closer and closer to the truth.
So she's an ISFJ.
The audience agrees. We got CC Marie. We got Lazarus. The same people that had raised concerns earlier seem to be agreeing with that.
Okay.
A plethora of me did like to note, though, that she was an actor in her early life. It doesn't matter if you're, like, an actor or not, because even actors still stay within the four sides of their mind, and you can tell if they're transitioning or they're not. Like, for example, Heath Ledger, he's an obvious crusader type, but he did real well as a Joker, for example. He also had that crusader approach on the movie Brokeback Mountain as well, because he would, I think he was trying to portray ISFJ as much as possible. A Knight's Tale as well was very ESFJ-ish, so he's, like, within the crusader quadra, and I maintain being a crusader ego while accessing an SFP other side of your mind is literally, you know, Heath Ledger's approach. And we see this consistently. Joseph Morgan is another example. He's an actor who played Klaus Michelson in The Vampire Diaries and the originals, and I believe Legacies as well. And he was basically going back and forth. I mean, he himself, I believe, is an ISFJ or an ENTP, but he was portraying both sides pretty well within the construct of the writing of the tropes, basically. So either way, I think that regardless of her being an actor and regardless of anyone, you know, trying to portray themselves, a person's ego is primary within the dynamic of their personality, and it doesn't matter what they're going to do, their ego will always show at any given point, you know.
I think so. So if we go on the assumption that the queen is an ISFJ,
sure,
there is compatibility then at some level, just like Harry has compatibility with Meghan.
Yeah, and pedagogue relationship.
Oh, is that? Yeah.
Yeah, they got a pedagogue relationship.
They do, don't they? Wow.
It's really interesting just seeing the social dynamic of the royal family so far, because you got Queen Elizabeth, and do you think Kate Middleton was, like, okay with succumbing to that? I mean, she probably was, because I think Kate Middleton is a TE user personally, and she's willing to craft that perception of how she looks to other people. But Meghan Markle's TE critic, and it's like, I ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But then, and she's got Effie Child. Whereas if you look at Princess Diana with Effie Inferior could be like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to be guilted, and I'll let down my family if I don't behave this certain way. So I'll just use my TE nemesis to kind of adjust the perception for as long as I can handle it. But even Princess Diana later's like, I wish I didn't do that. And, you know, who knows?
Pedagogue relationship. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So there you have it, folks. We're moving on with ISFJ. I maintain she's an ISFJ. I don't see any other evidence to the contrary. So we're gonna move on with Queen Elizabeth of the understanding of ISFJ. So Jay, where does that take us?
Well, what about the competition? It seems like it's a competition between Harry and Meghan.
Really?
And Will and Kate.
Oh, Will and Kate. Okay, this is interesting. I didn't even think about this. So enlighten me, good sir.
Well, I mean, Will is in line to be king.
Okay.
And Kate seems to be the dutiful wife and is going to be queen when he does.
Have we typed them?
We have not typed them, no.
Okay. Well, we just may do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be fascinating. There is a good interview that I saw where you've got both of them being interviewed at the same time. I think it's shortly after their engagement.
Okay.
But they're in competition in terms of it's not so much Harry versus Will, although I think Harry's not going to be king. Will is, so there's kind of the Playboy prince that Harry is and doesn't have the responsibility that Will is. So there's that dynamic, but really the competition seems to be Meghan and Kate. Because I think, personal opinion, I think Meghan would like to be in Kate's position, to be the future queen. I don't know, but
really?
They battle. Who's got the most YouTube followers? Who's got the most Twitter followers? Who's got the best?
Well, really?
Dresses?
Really? I don't even know about this. I mean, shoot, you got like a video or a...
Oh gosh, I'll have to look. Let me, it's mostly news reports.
That's fine. I mean, shoot, if you could pull one up, let's take a look. We got time. It's all good.
Let me see if I can find something real quick.
While you're doing that, I'm going to queue up some videos I'm going to try to find that video you're talking about with Kate Middleton and Prince William here.
All right.
So let's see. Prince William and Kate Middleton interview. Okay. Give first TV interviews ever. Full interview. First interview since getting engaged. Duke and Duchess of Cambridge surprise Radio 1's Adele Roberts. Kate's first official joint outing. Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. Oh, that's William and Kate unseen interview footage in their own words. All right. So let's get a little interesting here. Let's see. Lazarus says he thinks you're onto something, Jay.
Oh, really?
And
there's something going on. There's something underneath all this.
Lauren says, Lauren H says, when Prince William broke up with Kate Middleton, she went and intentionally got super hot to basically spite him. Sounds like NE wanting to be desired. Okay.
All right. There's I just sent you a link to a USA Today article.
All right, cool. Let's check it out.
Feud between the sisters-in-law.
All right. Put this here, and I will share the screen for the audience to check out as well. Let's go through it here. Awesome. Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
So USA Today. Oh my goodness. What have I become here? Doing all this.
Well, where to go?
Yeah. Although advertisement, I don't want to look at the advertisement. Stop.
No, go.
The actual.
Yeah, hit the.
All right, let's go. The back button.
Try the back button.
There it is.
There you go.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Is there a vicious feud raging between everyone's favorite royal sisters-in-law, Duchess of Kate of Cambridge and Duchess Meghan of Sussex? They'll never say, but that doesn't stop TV networks and media from whetting fan appetites with speculation. Thus, the Kate versus Meghan Princesses at War landed Tuesday on TLC. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Technically, neither Kate nor Meghan are princesses. They're royal duchesses, but princess sounds better to royally confused Americans. Okay, fair enough. I guess that means you and I, Jay. I guess we are royally confused.
Well, and yeah, we didn't give the disclaimer at the beginning of the show that, you know, we neither of us are really experts on the royal family. I mean, so
I am not.
It's just our perceptions of things going on across the pond.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I right down to the, you know, you have no rights because we're using coronavirus as an excuse, right? I mean, why not? So what do palace officials have to say? Nothing. There's no official on the court record. Okay, yeah. So who's to say there's a feud? Excellent question. The rift was inevitable narrative because the idea of two justices having a cat fight was too irresistible for the press not to go near. Okay, yeah, maybe there's a chance that there's not really that much. There's really not much there. They're just trying to like sensationalize and create it. I mean, what do you expect paparazzi to do? You know what I mean?
Well, that is true. You're right about that.
What are they supposed to be feuding about? In public joint appearances, Harry and Meghan an incredibly successful tour in the South Pacific in October, and boom, they get back, and suddenly Kate and Meghan hate each other. It was extraordinary how fast it happened. Okay, says this, you know, okay.
Yeah.
Anonymous sources say Meghan made Kate cry at a pre-wedding dress fitting for little Princess Charlotte. Does not have explained why or what she supposedly said. Okay. The future queen was in tears about what Meghan said to her. That's interesting. The future queen.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. See, there's going to be a competition for the rest of their lives, you could say. I mean, Kate's going to become queen. Meghan is always going to try, you know, being married to Harry, assuming that relationship continues. I don't know.
I think it will. I honestly think it will. Yeah, I absolutely think so. Because, like, if Meghan really cares that much about appearances, then it's a thing. So remember, folks, I'm taking the position of Meghan doesn't care about the popularity. Meghan doesn't care about the fame. Meghan doesn't care about the throne. She just cares about her freedom of choice. And what she's doing in the decision that she's made is people are making out and projecting onto her that she's doing that. That's my current position. Sounds like, Jay, you might have a different position, but that's okay. We can try to see if we can come up with what's actually happening here.
Well, time will tell, no doubt.
We don't know what type Kate is. The audience is asking us for us to type Kate before we continue. So shall we do that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
All right, cool. Let's do that then. I will. Let's see.
William and Kate are currently touring Pakistan as they learn more about the region, including the effect.
I don't. Let me actually adjust that here. I'm going to share it again. Do
right.
this. Make sure we get the sound in there. All right, awesome. And let's do this.
Of climate change has had in the area now.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, but I know this is a cause very close to your heart.
Absolutely. I think William and I really wanted to come and see an SOS children's village like this. You know, there's so many vulnerable women here, but they've really sort of used their positivity and the support that the village here provides them really to support and protect the next generation, the children in their care, and give them the best possible start to their future lives.
You look like you've really, really enjoyed the entire visit.
The best possible start.
It's been fantastic. We've seen a lot of Pakistan, a huge variety. It was amazing seeing some of the geography, but then to see some of the community activities like this.
It's amazing to see this. It's amazing to see us. We're all about the seeing here, Mr. J. We're all about the seeing, you know. So, yes, and I think because we're all about the seeing, we're all about fire and air for Kate right now. So definitely going with NISE for Kate so far, as near as I can tell. Yeah. So let's keep going. Let's adjust the. Gotta keep reminding myself to share in between.
Has been really special.
Okay, now William and Kate gave another interview today when they're at the Army Canine.
I think it was
the Canine Center.
Yes, I think it was quite.
Wow, she does like all the talking. So initiating. You know what
quite
I mean?
an adventure, really. It's pretty bumpy up there, but we're looked after so wonderfully by the RAF. You know, they did a great job liaising with everyone and got us home safely. So
they did a great job liaising with everybody, and I'm going to initiate like 50 million more points in between everything I've said already, because like, why not change the subject midway? Because like, I'm initiating AF while simultaneously being an SE user. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kind of like, oh, that's funny, Vero. So Vero says in the audience, he's like, Chase, you should have a pool before you type. I know, right?
That's true. That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have a live studio audience. Railgun is in the building.
All right.
All right. Let's continue on with the typing here. All right. So
she may surprise us, Kate.
She might. I have no idea what type she is, but let's keep going.
I'm not sure I do either.
He might be a background type. We'll see.
Grateful to everyone.
I think the fact that we're here today and we're witnessing UK-Pakistani security working together shows you how important it is, and that actually what happens here in Pakistan directly correlates to what happens on the streets of the UK.
What happens here on Pakistan directly correlates to what happens on the UK. Oh, someone aware of consequences of actions? Gonna have to put a point down for extrovert intuition for Mr. William. All right, awesome. This guy is definitely an introverted sensor. So here's we go. I guess that makes sense. So great. Yeah. At least we know that William and Kate have sexual compatibility within their marriage. I mean, at least we know at a default that they can definitely get it on. I mean, at least as far as we could tell so far, Kate likes being on top, and he, you know, let's just
as does Meghan.
as does Meghan. That's for damn sure. Our Railgun is smiling AF right now. She's like, yeah, I like to be on top too.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. I love my wife. Yeah, we're focusing, trying hard. All right, back to it. Here we go.
All right.
And I think it's really important that everyone back home realizes that, you know, we have a far-reaching projection of what we're doing, and we're involved with Pakistanis for a very good reason that will actually keep people safe back in the UK. So what happens in Pakistan directly correlates to what happens back in the UK.
What happens in Pakistan directly correlates to what happens in the UK. You know what? I can't say if it's concrete versus pragmatic, but he seems definitely responding, you know, because he's just like, yeah, please comment. And he's like,
well, I was just going to say, I mean, they are saying what they want to say, but at the same time, they are very conscious of their image and how they say things and what they say. So it might kind of skew things a little bit. But
absolutely, you know, this is probably the hardest online typing session I've ever done. Jay, you decided to bring quite the challenge.
Oh, right. Well,
but it's fun, man. I love getting tested like this, man. I absolutely love it. I'm having a lot of fun here. So,
well, again, I remember when you typed Diana. I mean, that was a very nice surprise, and it was a little, it wasn't an easy one at first, but it was completely different than what we thought. So maybe we'll see some of that here with William and Kate.
Yeah, definitely. I have a theory though that William is the affiliative one and Kate is definitely pragmatic. I'm almost thinking Kate's a Wayfarer type, but let's keep going for sure. Okay.
I'll tell you, since they've been in Pakistan, I've been watching every day of what they're doing. I don't know what it is about.
I'm tired of these talking heads. Let's move on to the next one.
I know. It's rough.
So a few weeks ago on holiday in Kenya.
All right, yeah, that's
fine. We had a little private time away together with some friends, and I just decided that it was the right time, really. We've been talking about marriage for a while, so it wasn't a massively big surprise, but I took her up somewhere nice in Kenya.
I took her up somewhere nice in Kenya. You know, I decided this, I decided that. Okay, LOL, Mr. I'm introverted sensing. Thank you very much, Prince William, for basically exposing your mind to us here. Thank you very much. And seems so far pretty informative, giving us all that useless information that we didn't actually need to know, because hashtag people that are TMI are informative. That's another thing to go there. Okay, let's interesting statement there on YouTube. All right, back to the interview. Here we go.
All right.
And proposed.
It's very romantic. There's a true romantic in that.
There is.
You said yes, obviously.
Of course, yes, yeah.
Thankfully.
And you knew you were going to do this from day one of the holiday, or you waited till the end?
I'd been planning it for a while, but as every guy out there will know, it takes a certain amount of motivation to get yourself going. So I was planning it, and then it just felt really right out in Africa. It was beautiful at the time, and I had done a little bit of planning to obviously show my romantic side.
Okay, you've been on holiday a while, so did you see this coming? Was he getting a bit nervous and jumping?
No, not at all, no, because, we were out there with friends and things, so I really didn't expect it at all. I thought he might have sort of maybe thought about it, but no.
I thought he might have maybe sort of thought about it because, like, I'm extroverted sensing again, LOL, because, I'm not aware of the consequences or aware of what other people are doing. But yeah, definitely an ISE for sure. More proof that they can get it on at least within their relationship. At least, if they have a fight in their relationship, they can take it to the bedroom. At least they got that going on.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, let's keep going.
Total shock when it came and very excited.
And you produced the ring?
Yeah.
There and then?
I did, yeah. I'd been carrying it around with me in my rucksack for about 3 weeks before that, and I literally would not let it go. Everywhere I went, I was keeping hold of it because I knew this thing, if it disappeared, I'd be in a lot of trouble. And yeah, because I planned it, it went fine. As you'll hear a lot of horror stories about proposing and things going horribly wrong. It went really, really well, and yeah, I was really pleased that she said yes.
And it's a family ring?
It is a family ring, yes. It's my mother's engagement ring.
That's like, my mother's engagement ring. It's like, if I lost this, I get into a lot of trouble, Yeah, and he's like, it's my mother's engagement ring. Look at the look at his face right now. Super extroverted feeling, with that. Yeah. So, wow, of course, Prince William looking more and more like a crusader type with his extroverted feeling right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Diana's engagement ring.
Wow. Holy smokes. Wow.
I bet Meghan would have liked to have had Diana's engagement ring.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't Kate Middleton get married first to Prince William?
Oh yes, yeah.
And was Meghan actually dating Harry at that time? No, it was before then. Okay, yeah, so she really wouldn't have even had a shot at that.
No, she wouldn't have had a shot. That doesn't mean she wouldn't have liked to have had it.
Right. Okay, that's fair. I mean, I guess it would make sense from one STP to another, right?
Right.
Meghan wants it all. I mean, the audience, Lazarus says Meghan wants it all. I mean, I don't know. I don't think she does.
You don't? Really?
I really don't. I still maintain so far, that she's not in it for the money at all, and she's actually like an independent woman who don't need no man. Not trying to be all feminist about that either, but like she doesn't want her freedom of choice taken away. You know what I'm saying?
No. I mean, that is definitely, that's as much it as anything. But
right.
All right. Let's keep going.
It was quite nice because obviously she's not going to be around to share any of the fun and excitement of it all. This was my way of keeping her sort of close to it all.
I guess we better have a look at it. What kind of?
It's my way of of her to keep it close to all. That kind of seemed pretty control. Let's see here. So I'm gonna put down a point for outcome for Mr. William for sure on that one. That was actually a very bad location to put outcome, but there we go. Does he see a little background? It kind of seems it.
Yeah, he does actually.
Okay, all right. So let's go back to the sharing and move back here. All right, cool. Let's keep going.
Ring is it? Are you an expert on what's?
I'm not an expert on it at all. I've been reliably informed it's a sapphire with some diamonds, but I'm sure everyone recognises it from previous times.
So informative. He's so informative.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, I'm gonna put down another point here on informative without actually changing the share on it. It's just to keep time going as much as we can. Sure. And let's go back here and keep going.
Envy of many.
Well, I just hope I look after it.
Yeah. She loses.
But
she's in big trouble.
It's very, very special.
That has to be said.
I hope I look after it. It's very, very special. Okay. Thank you, Miss FITE user for your thing. So yeah, It's really looking like Jay, as we get more into this here, between both of these, it seems like she is a Wayfarer type, and he is a Crusader type.
Sure.
Yeah. I guess it would make sense that he would, naturally, I mean, a Crusader like Harry, I mean, two Crusader brothers. I think there's probably more conflict between the brothers than actually the women potentially.
Well, now that you say that, I mean, they are in conflict right now.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. They because Harry, supposedly a lot of this started, the conflict started because William voiced his disapproval of some of the things that Meghan was doing, or her lifestyle, or just things about her, and told Harry to maybe go slow or just be sure this is who you want. Harry did not like that. And that was the beginning of the split between the brothers. They're very much.
Wait! You're telling me that Prince William warned Harry about Meghan? Is that what you're basically saying?
Yeah, in certain ways he did. Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous. Okay, yeah. So from one SFJ to another, that's like, okay, they have super high. I mean, if he is an SFJ, but at least from one Crusader to another, they're in the same quadra.
Right. That's right.
They have high camaraderie, very low compatibility. So there's huge opportunity for conflict. That obviously started a conflict between the two. And then I guess that would automatically make, from one Crusader to another, because they're both expert intuitive, they really desire to feel wanted. And then Harry's like, okay, wow. So like my brother, like LOL, who's obviously going to become the king, he obviously doesn't want me anymore. So why should I have to stay around here? If I'm going to do the time, I may as well do the crime. So maybe that has a little bit of an inkling as to why Prince Harry is more than willing to leave with his ESTP wife to get out of the royal family. I didn't consider that, Jay.
Well, there's a couple other things too.
All right, lay them on me.
And we actually saw one earlier when we were looking at one of the interviews with the Queen, and it was her. Oh, it was when she was giving her Christmas message. I think that was it. She had all the pictures there on her table next to her. Harry and Meghan's was not there, but William and Kate's was.
And that's before Harry and Meghan left?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. So if you read British tabloids, they pay a lot of attention. There is a lot of meaning in what pictures are being displayed when the Queen is giving a speech or something to, talking about something publicly. Their picture was missing. Also, the Queen had some pictures taken with, it was Prince Charles herself, William, and Prince George, William's oldest son, because they're all in line to be king ultimately. Harry was absent and from what I understood, took some offense from that he was not also included in some of those pictures. So, yeah, so if am I wanted, am I not? There's some of that going on, I think, yes.
Well, the thing is, so within my own marriage, recently, I had an ESFP in my life really disrespect me. And it's so interesting watching my wife turn into this lioness or hound dog or attack dog, or she'll just go beast mode, in my defense. Sometimes in her ISTJ shadow comes out and absolutely eats people for breakfast. And it's no secret that sometimes when people criticize me on social media, she'll come out of nowhere with a giant hammer and slap people real hard, bash them in the face pretty hard with it. It's pretty cool, not gonna lie. I like how she uses her FE mace, very wantonly. And I guess the Queen would call it unyieldy or unwieldy.
Unwieldy, yeah.
Unwieldy. But yeah, definitely something interesting. And I think socially speaking, being that I am married to an ESTP, and Harry, as a fellow Crusader, is also married to an ESTP, I could easily see how that little feud between Prince William and Prince Harry. On top of the fact that, Meghan is very interest-based. She's like, okay, if I'm not getting the same out of it as this person is getting out of it, I'm automatically being manipulated. And then seeing that her picture with Harry is not present during the Christmas situation, it's like, wait a minute, you're showing favoritism towards William and Kate. What about us? This is crap. I'm not going to deal with this. From an interest-based standpoint, it causes SE rage. And she's like, fine. I'm just going to mirror them. If we're not welcome in their life, then they're not welcome in our life, doing the ESTP mirror. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it makes perfect sense, from that standpoint, that she's doing it from an ethical point of view in terms of Prince Harry, and not necessarily all about trying to be the celeb, depraved kind of like, I'm in it for the glory and the money and the notoriety and the fame. I don't think she has anything to do with that. Like, so far, Jay, I'm just seeing more and more evidence that she's actually just sticking it to the crown where it belongs. Well, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, she is. She is. But is she getting more out of it than just her freedom? I mean, I'm still not convinced that she's not. I mean, the whole capitalizing on, Sussex Royal and keeping their titles of, Royal Highness and whatnot. It just.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they lost their titles. They wanted to keep their titles of His and Her Royal Highness. They lost those. They didn't think they were going to lose them. They told the Queen that she didn't have any control over the use of the word royal outside of the outside of Great Britain. And so they were building a commercial empire based off of their brand, which was Sussex Royal. That had to be canceled because they can't use the word royal any longer. They can't call themselves His and Her Royal Highness. Now they're still Duke and Duchess, but they're not Royal Highnesses. So they've had to step back and totally rethink their branding. I mean, they've hired consultants, and they've got a CEO of their organization. And let's not kid ourselves. The Queen and the royal family is a firm. It is an organization. Oh yeah. Harry and Meghan were trying to create their own, and they were trying to do that on the backs of their royal heritage and using the word royal and all that. That's a no-no. When it comes to the royal family, you don't get personal commercial gain based off your royalty. So yeah.
That's fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. But let's continue to go into the dynamics by further typing Kate and Prince William. So let's do it again here. Hopefully
you look like you're enjoying this.
I am. This is lots of fun.
Incredibly happy and relaxed.
We are. We're like sort of ducks. It's sort of very calm on the surface, but the little feet going under the water. But no, it's been really exciting. We've been talking about it for a long time. So for us, it's kind of.
We're like little ducks with little feet under the water. I mean, okay, that's very that's TMI informative, bro. I mean, come on. And then also, gosh, that kind of seemed like an abstraction a little bit. It's a little bit of an abstraction. Yeah. Well, let's keep going. Who knows? Who knows?
All right.
It's a real relief, and it's really nice to be able to tell everybody, because especially the last 2 or 3 weeks have been quite difficult not telling anyone, keeping it to ourselves for reasons we had to. And it's really nice to finally be able to share it with everyone.
And you obviously have kept it a secret. So when did you ask Kate's dad, and what did he say, and what did your respective parents say when you told them?
Well, I was torn between asking Kate's dad first, and then the realisation that he might actually say no dawned upon me. So I thought if I ask Kate first, then he can't really say no. So I did that way round. And
if I ask Kate first, that was actually a very logical exchange. So I'm putting a point down for Sword and Mace, or TIFE for William again. And this really solidifies him as a crusader type. He is definitely a crusader, hands down. As to which crusader, not entirely sure. He definitely seems systematic because he's focused on doing the best way of doing things, especially when he's talking about his mother's ring and everything that represents with his ring, and the process he had to follow with his mom's ring, and the best way of going about doing that. So he's definitely systematic for sure. In terms of affiliative versus pragmatic versus concrete, I'm not entirely sure. But so far, I'm leaning more towards the affiliative at this point. And it may actually be concrete. So he might actually be a full-on SFJ.
Yeah.
So far. So let's keep moving forward and see where we're at.
And I managed to speak to Mike sort of soon after it happened, really. And then it sort of happened from there.
Kate, what did your mum say?
Well, I think as any mother would be, she was absolutely over the moon. And actually we had quite an awkward situation because I knew, and I knew that William had asked my father, but I didn't know if my mother knew. So I came back from Scotland and I knew
he asked I knew he asked my father. I didn't know if he talked to my mother. I didn't know what to say in that situation. That's super Wayfarer. That's definitely FITE, trying to manage people's perceptions, trying to figure out who knows what, etc., and then trying to figure out what William did compared to the experience that her parents had. So she's definitely a Wayfarer, hands down, as well. I'm also I'm gonna say that she's pretty direct with what she's saying. Definitely seems pretty direct. And I mean, would you agree with that, Jay? I haven't really seen her be informative at all.
Yeah, no. I mean, William is by far more informative than she is. I'd agree. Yeah, she is much more direct.
Yeah, and we know she's initiating, and I don't see her moving very much. And at least I don't see her. I see her talking about outcomes and talking about the goal, and the goal is like, hey, does my mother know? I know my father knows. That's that outcome. I'm moving on to the next outcome. How am I going to game the system? So I'm going to put a point down for outcome as well. So if she's direct initiating outcome, that automatically places Kate Middleton as, guess what? An ENTJ. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's a surprise.
That's a huge surprise. Kate Middleton as an ENTJ. Things are getting interesting. Let's go on a little bit deeper and take a look at that a little bit more.
My mother made it didn't make it clear to me whether she knew or not. So both of us were there sort of looking at each other.
My mother didn't make it clear to me as to, because her mother is informative and she's talking about the experience of her mother because she's expert at sensing. Okay, yeah.
And feeling quite awkward about it, but it was amazing to tell her, and obviously she was very happy for us.
I mean, one of the things that's been clear actually for a long time is you very evidently have a close-knit family, and family is very important to you.
Yeah. No, it's very important.
Yep, because I'm direct AF. Yep.
Important to me, and I hope we'll be able to have a happy family ourselves, because it's been they've been great over the years, helping me with
I hope to have a happy family, and my FI in Fury is afraid that I might not be a good wife, or I might not be a good royal, or I might not be able to put forward the perception that I need to put forward for the sake of this family. And you can just hear all these things in the back of her head as she's going forward with this. Come on, man, like nice FI in Fury there, bro. or wait, she's not a bro.
Difficult times, and
Oh look, it's the female version of Donald Trump. Wait a minute.
We see a lot of each other. And they're very, very dear to me.
People are bound to ask, it's a bit of an obvious question, but children, do you want lots of children? See what comes. What's your
I think we'll take it one step at a time. We'll sort of get over the marriage thing first, and then maybe look at the kids. But obviously,
I think we'll take it one step at a time, you know, and get over the marriage first. Okay, yeah, that's very outcome focused, very outcome focused of Mr. William. That's awesome. Yep. Additional evidence that. So right now, so what do you guys think, Prince William, folks? Do you guys think he is an ISFJ or do you guys think he's an INTP? That's really what we're trying to figure out now. Which one is it? Please put your comments in the live stream chat. Let's see what you guys think. ISFJ or INTP for Prince William? It's a Crusader, a little bit more difficult.
Yeah,
what do you think, Jay?
I know where I'm coming out. ISFJ.
You're going all in on the ISFJ, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Jay Patel says he's an INTP. And Emailed Anthrax says ISFJ. Okay. So, well, let's think about this, Jay.
Okay.
If he is an INTP, they have a golden pair. But if he is an ISFJ, they have a bronze pair. And statistically, ISFJ and ENTJ get married the most. Bronze pairs are the statistical highest marriage pairing of all of the different pairings. So either way, the relationship that they have is looking very good. Now the audience is finally coming in right now, and it's like very few INTPs, and it's just a giant cascade of ISFJ. I think the audience has got your back on this one, Jay.
He's not pragmatic. He's not challenging the status quo. He's tradition.
Very all about tradition. And I agree with you. He definitely seems affiliative for sure. I have not seen any pragmatic from him whatsoever. So definitely going in the affiliative direction, which solidifies Prince William as an ISFJ. And that puts him as the same type as the Queen.
The Queen.
His grandmother. That's really interesting. So from one ISFJ to another. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we know? Queen Elizabeth, ISFJ. Prince Harry, ESFJ. Meghan Markle, ESTP. Kate Middleton, ENTJ. And Prince William is ISFJ. Dominated by the concrete, dominated by the guardian temperament within this family. Holy smokes. You know?
Yeah.
So based on that, what's next, Jay? What do you have for us based on now that we have this information?
So any final comments, I guess, on the relationship between Meghan and Kate then, now that we know ESTP versus ENTJ?
Well, speaking from my own experience,
all right,
my wife and ENTJs don't mix. It's kind of interesting. They can have that camaraderie, shoulder to shoulder professional relationship when you have a TE hero working with a TI parent to kind of move, forward from that. But I think my biggest criticism Railgun has about yay, my little puppy dog. Yes. So the biggest criticism she has about ENTJs is that okay, here you go. Is that that's an ENTP dog, by the way, just saying.
Are you sure?
Yeah, definitely. We spent a lot of time typing the dogs to figure out what we wanted. We wanted an ENTP dog, and we found one, so that was cool. But anyway, my wife's biggest criticism of ENTJs is that actually, what is your biggest criticism? Just outline it for us real quick. Like, isn't it like the competition thing, or always trying to eliminate competition all the time? That kind of a thing.
Yeah, SE inferiors, SE child. Okay, so SE child will get really jealous of anyone with higher SE than them, but SE inferior will try to eliminate competition. SE child will kind of spread rumors, I want to say.
Yeah, more of like an overt proof that I'm better than you, kind of a thing.
Yeah, like my SE child father sometimes, but especially Matt's SE child mother, big time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's more ENTJs who do it than ENFJs.
It's always trying to like one up from an SE child standpoint. Yeah, yeah. So and that's, you know, my wife Rogan, she's an ESTP. Her number one complaint about ENTJs is that with their SE child, they're always trying to one up, you know, female ENTJs. That it's always trying to one up other people. The thing is, though, it's true of male ENTJs. I actually was really close friends with the male ENTJ for a lot of years until I asked him to leave my life because he put me in personal danger to his benefit and not my own. But he was always one-upping everybody. We'd play this video game together called EVE Online. Anytime he had an opportunity to escalate, he would always escalate. He'd always drop the fanner. It'd always be a big show. It'd always be some explosive glory thing.
Like cheap shots.
Yeah. They always go for the cheap shots. And, you know, I maintain, you know, from a Kate Middleton versus Meghan Markle point of view, given that Meghan is an ESTP, I really think that Kate Middleton is probably one-upping Meghan any opportunity. On top of the fact that we already have conflict between William and Harry in a similar manner, whereas like William's trying to talk down to Harry and tell Harry, his little brother, his responsibility to the family, and from one SFJ to another, that's not going to work. Right. So you have one-upping on one side, and you're not doing your responsibility on the other. I think they're fighting two wars simultaneously.
Wow, that's fascinating. And you know, what's interesting is it may be, because what you're saying is Kate as the ENTJ is trying to one-up Meghan. So maybe Kate is the one that's jealous of Meghan.
Yes, as
opposed to the other way around, which I think
exactly. Yes, that's exactly what I think is happening. I really think Kate Middleton is so jealous AF of Meghan, for sure.
Right. Oh my goodness.
And you know, I mean, why not? Because think about it. Meghan comes from a super, a much, because it's all about performance, right? And SE child, especially NJ types, they love being performers. It's all about performance as much as possible. Meghan Markle is a successful performer herself. I could easily see how Kate Middleton is envious of the fact that Meghan is a performer. And, you know, she's just like doing that whole female thing of, you know, life is just this one big pie. You know, well, why do you get that slice, right? And then Kate Middleton's like trying to solidify the fact that, you know, hey, you know, guess what? I get to be the new queen, and you're just gonna have to get over yourself, you know, because at least I got that. You're like the super successful actress, but hey, at least I get to be the queen. LOL. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, masculine type.
So how then, just taking this a step further, how then will Kate Middleton adjust? She's pragmatic too, right? How will she?
Yeah, they're both pragmatic.
How will she adjust to royal life? And is part of her jealousy of Meghan is that Meghan has escaped it, and maybe she at some level would like to herself. But she
know what? That is actually a really good point, because here's my theory using my expert intuition in terms of what's going to happen, you know, within the royal family as we know it. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are going to have so much more success, so much more fame, so many more business opportunities, make far more money, and have absolute freedom of choice compared to Kate, who is going to have to be forced as a pragmatic ENTJ to be prim and proper for the rest of her life while she's trying to one-up Meghan Markle. But Meghan Markle's just going to do it because Meghan Markle, out of the two of them, actually had the strength to put everything, to put her freedom of choice above the queen, above the crown, above everything. And Meghan Markle's like, well, why the hell do I care about this anyway? You all obviously don't care about me. You obviously, you know, aren't comfortable with me being here. Well, then I'm not comfortable with being in your family anyway. So I'm just going to go, and I'm going to take my loyal husband with me. And Harry's like, yeah, I don't feel wanted here. Obviously, I'm not wanted by my grandmother because my picture's not there. Obviously, I'm not wanted by my brother because he's telling me I'm just being irresponsible. So fair enough. I'm just going to be this loyal cavalier man to, you know, ESFJ man to my wife Meghan, and I'm going to support her in any way I can. Right down to like hooking her up with connections at Disney and
right.
you know what I mean? Like all these things that Prince Harry does for her. And that's fine. And he's happy to do it. He's very loyal to do that, you know. And a lot of people think that, you know, maybe he's just like some really weak man, as well. Honestly, I don't think he's a weak man because if you think about it, it takes a lot for an SFJ type to be willing to abandon their family to a point and actually let go of all of those responsibilities for the sake of a woman. But then again, he's had other male family members in the past, as you have pointed out, actually go through with this.
Right.
So
this is not unusual. This happens.
It happens. It absolutely happens. And it's just, looking at these family dynamics based on what the types that these people are. You have Queen Elizabeth, who obviously desires an heir who will, handle it appropriately. Right. Imagine what would have happened if Princess Diana became queen and how pragmatic she was, and not being affiliative at all, looking affiliative, but like at the end of the day, just kind of still doing whatever her NI child actually wanted, and then having Meghan Markle in there, as another pragmatic STP. That would have been an absolute disaster for the royal family in the eyes of Queen Elizabeth. So there's no way that would happen. And at least she's like, oh, thank goodness I have William and Kate, because at least that's the end of the day. I know that everything's going to be fine, even though there's a good chance that there's a huge amount of conflict between her and William anyway, because they're within the same quadra as well.
Right.
I imagine Queen Elizabeth has had many conversations with Prince William, telling him specifically how much of a horrible job he's doing, and Prince William is under even more pressure than before.
Right.
And then, to which I have to ask, wait a minute, is Kate Middleton really still basking in all the fame of her being a royal now? Or is she actually silently harboring a little bit of hatred and disgust towards the Queen because of how the Queen is treating her husband and whatnot? I wonder, and can they really afford an ENTJ pragmatic type like Donald Trump, of all people, to be the next queen, even though William's the king? Because, that TE hero will definitely dominate that TI child and provide lots of input to that TI child, and that TE trickster will just potentially believe anything. So quite frankly, I have a feeling Kate Middleton will rule the United Kingdom through her husband.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
That has happened in the past before as well, where the queen, the wife of the king, has had more power than the king and has influenced policy, whatever.
That is my prediction for the future of the UK, unless the monarchy is randomly abolished and Queen Elizabeth is the final monarch. But if the monarchy is to continue, I absolutely maintain that Kate Middleton will be the power of the United Kingdom. Absolutely. Hands down. She will be the one in charge and not Prince William. Prince William will be in charge in terms of the face, and that's it. But reality of the situation between their pillow talk and how it goes down from that regard, she's definitely going to be ruling through him, because while he may sit on the throne, he is the throne that she sits on, if you know what I mean. So had to go there. Hashtag pragmatic AF.
Oh, wow. But back to the original point, though.
Okay.
It's a lifelong battle between Kate and Meghan.
Absolutely.
This will go on. This could be entertaining.
Oh yes, we're gonna have to keep track of this one because, just like it said in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, like the mother telling the daughter, the man is the head of the family, but the woman is the neck who turns the head. You know what I mean? And I just that is literally the Kate Middleton Prince William relationship. And what's funny about that? I guarantee you, just like Railgun can so see through ENTJ women or NJ women playing their little competition or competition elimination games that they do because why did you get that slice, etc. I guarantee you Meghan absolutely sees the BS behind Kate and knows full well that when Kate becomes queen, that, and if she was dependent, if Meghan was dependent, that NI inferior got super afraid of, well, shoot, if I remain in this royal family and do my duty and allow myself to be disrespected, allow myself to have my freedom of choice, and if I just play along, then all of my wealth, all of my freedom, everything that my quality of life, the life that I enjoy, will be completely subject to the whims of Kate Middleton, who's constantly trying to one-up me at all times. Yeah, I'm not down for that. Yeah, I'm afraid of that happening. Yeah, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's absolutely, like, I maintain what's going on. I'm telling you, Jay, I fundamentally maintain that there is no way Meghan Markle is in it for the money, the fame, or anything. I'm telling you, she is just asserting her freedom of choice. I have to assert that because, you know, if you think about it, the way the type dynamics are going with the different compatibilities and the camaraderies, there's no way in hell. I mean, could you honestly, because you're a Templar type, as a Templar, could you really imagine yourself in that situation where you know that this ENTJ, who will be basically ruling through Prince William, and Prince William is already having negativity through Harry because Prince William is projecting his relationship with Queen Elizabeth onto her husband, Prince Harry? Do you think she'd have any options? And besides, isn't it also not wiser for the INFJ subconscious of Meghan Markle to establish, hey, we need to get our brand up off the ground. We need to get our business up off the ground. We need to have all of our assets figured out. We need to work on this now, because if we stay in this family, we're not going to ever have the opportunity to work on it, which means we're never going to have the freedom, and we're literally going to be dependent and subject to the whims of Kate Middleton, the ENTJ. Would that be a situation you'd want to be in, Jay?
Not at all. No.
So,
wow.
You know, that's my current social dynamic assessment, you know, on it. I mean, unless you're saying something different, you know what I mean?
I'm not saying anything different. And actually, I'm kind of coming around to your point of view more and more.
Well, I mean, if you got arguments, let's hear them.
No. I think what it is, I tell you what I think what it is.
Okay.
Is I probably have read too much of the British tabloids and their reaction to everything.
Right.
And so let's say Meghan, I mean, we know that she was already an actress. She was an aspiring actress.
Right.
None of that's changed. But when she, and maybe she moved into the royal family thinking that would advance her career, whatever. But when she left, maybe the British people took it personally and were looking for a reason to blame her and come up with a reason, rather than that there's this infighting perhaps within the royal family, or that it wasn't, you know, they're trying to make her the scapegoat. She's divorced.
Yeah.
She's American. Make her the reason why this didn't work out, as opposed to other things going on like we've talked about tonight.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying with that. Like, it's okay. Yeah, can you take him? It's all good. I think you might need to go outside. Yeah, he is very happy, little ENTP puppy. But you know what? You make a really good point. I never actually thought about that. Maybe she's using as the scapegoat, and this whole thing this narrative has been created about her in the tabloids to cover up the fact that there's all this royal infighting. Right. I you know what? That's actually a good point, because ESTPs, out of all of the types, are the type, especially ESTP women, are the type that the most rumors are spread about.
Oh.
No one spreads more rumors about ESTP women. Why is that? The reason why is because ENFPs are their superego. ENFPs are their superego, and they're kind of subject to the ENFPs. And out of all the types, ENFPs spread the most rumors. And, you know, but because, hey, you know, in the absence of explanation or communication, perceptions become reality. If I just sow this perception of this person, it'll turn into a rumor and everyone will buy it. And then as a result, she will lose in reputation. And I absolutely agree with that. I maintain that there's definitely some rumors being spread about her. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Kate Middleton is actually somewhat behind that PR point of view, because as a TE hero and as a wayfarer, wayfarers can also use rumors as a weapon for sure, because they get really hurt by public shame. Any TE user is hurt by public shaming.
Right.
Most philosophers are hurt the most, but wayfarers are still pretty sensitive to it. So when you have someone who's, spear and bow, FITE, TE users, because they're so hurt by shame, they use shame as a weapon, right? And because of that, they like to shame each other, basically. And, that causes a lot of issues. And that's why we know when you're having high camaraderie types, people within the same with the same cognitive armament, or with the cognitive arsenal, or people who are within the same quadra, they all have that issue where they use the same weapons against each other because they all are emotionally made up the same way. And the spear and bow person, FITE, has that same emotional makeup. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And the thing is that if you look at it from an interest point of view, who gains the most? The answer is Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton gains the most when it comes to that narrative. If you really think about it, it's not the Crown really trying to save face as much as it is actually starting to promote Kate Middleton or Kate Middleton using these rumors about Meghan to kind of promote herself, and with her SE child and her TE hero, get the English, get the people of the UK used to the idea and comfortable with the idea of her becoming queen.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I have no choice but to believe that that's actually factual at this point, because I don't, using deductive reasoning, I don't see any other reason why I couldn't.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
Now, yeah, man, it just keeps going. But I would like to draw a little bit of attention actually to what some of the people in the chat have been saying. So check this out. Caron says, looks like Meghan is a gold digger. You might be out off of high SE. And then, so basically people are making the argument that Meghan looks like a gold digger at this point. I would like to draw some attention back to the little the typing thing that we have here on this page. I would like to use, we'll use some red ink here. So Crusaders have this problem. They have this problem, this vice of injustice. Templars have this vice of hypocrisy. Philosophers have this vice of, sacrificing others, sacrificing other people, basically, so others. But the vice of the wayfarer is ultimately being a thief or a gold digger. So I think it's completely unfair for people to label Meghan Markle as a gold digger. I think that's unfair. If anyone's really a gold digger, it's Kate Middleton. Based on what we know cognitively, psychologically speaking about the types, I think this narrative that Meghan Markle is a gold digger, I think it's fundamentally false. What's your thoughts on that, Jay? What do you think?
Well, I was going to ask you, Chase. I mean, because I've had this problem knowing that, excuse me, that Meghan's an ESTP, the gold digger just didn't seem to fit. And even though I've convinced myself that it was in fact what she was doing, self-promotion, maybe a little bit nicer term, but I don't know, it just never fit. Of course, it doesn't seem to fit for Kate based off of her appearance and
the TE sewing of her perception, right?
I know.
What do you do, Jay, as an INFJ when you have TE trickster and I mean, you're built for TE child. You're built for like the perception builders. How do you navigate that, through verification, Like,
I don't know.
I've always wondered, I guess this is why I always tell TI child, like, hey, verify everything, please, God almighty, so you don't get screwed by the perceptions,
I know. Well, this is a surprise to me. And I think the reason it is such a surprise is because just like we've seen in every video tonight, is they all come across with an appearance of complete being in control and completely cover all these family dynamics, which are common to all of us. They have them just like the rest of us have. They're not special.
Right.
And so it's you just start peeling it back a little bit and it suddenly all comes to light. It's just fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. A couple of really interesting comments from the YouTube chat. John K says, hey, Chase, if this is true, that would make sense if Kate started the gold digger rumor about Meghan, since people tend to project.
Oh.
Burn. High five on that one, John K. That was awesome. But counterpoint, Boff Boz came in and said, you're not a gold digger because you're a wayfarer. You're a gold digger because you marry for money. I 100% agree with that.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jay. Do you want to comment on that one?
That is true. I mean, that's the definition of gold digger. Is you're looking for, and see, that's why the label fits Meghan. It's so easily applied. Maybe not fits. It's so easily applied to her.
It's so easy to make rumors about ESTPs. It's so easy, you know?
Oh, yeah, because we just don't care.
Yeah, because, FI trickster, the nymphomania vice, you know what I mean? It's so easy to, like, make an ESTP woman out to be a hoe, even though she's not a hoe.
Right.
It's so easy. And maybe if you think about it, like, here's some abstraction for you. Do they really have the vice of nymphomania? Or do they just look like they have the vice of nymphomania because of the perception that, because of the stereotype applied by the rest of society? Now, I personally maintain they really do have the vice of nymphomania. But when you when you abstract out the perceptions as to what's being thrown around about them, things get kind of really interesting. I would like to say, though, in response to Boff Boz, though, under the Wayfarer, all I'm saying is that the Wayfarer quadra, in terms of women, is the most likely of all of the four quadras to be gold diggers in relationships, sexual or otherwise. And that's why I'm saying that. Am I labeling them all gold diggers? No, I'm not. So please understand this is a dynamic based on primary and secondary, or yin and yang equilibrium. It's not saying like, you are this static fixed label, etc. So I wanted to add a little bit of a disclaimer there and whatnot. But yeah. By the way, guys, if you want to learn more about virtue and vice, please check out the Virtue and Vice lecture about the quadras, which is season 17, episode 10 in the season 17 playlist. And if you want to check out more about Virtue and Vice about each of the individual types, please check out season 7 as we have that put there. Okay. JZZ, check this out, Jay. He says, I'm an NF. I feel like they are both as structure type, but Kate most likely is into power and wealth, more materialist than Meghan, and Meghan is less into power, but sure into wealth. If two as a couple match. Interesting point of view. I disagree with JZZ so far, but I think it is an important point to point out that yes, they're both structure types. Yeah. So if you look at it from that point of view, that they're both structure types, and they're both women. They're both married to princes.
Yes.
What do you think about that in terms of the dynamic?
Well, that's natural for conflict, I would think. I mean, it's that alone is going to drive conflict. So there's a lot underlying all this.
Yeah, and as you pointed out earlier, you start talking about I think people, like you said, what did you say about family and people relating to family again?
Oh, all these dynamics are in every family, including theirs, even though they try to put on this, the royal persona, so to speak. It's there. It's hard. You just have to peel back the layers, but it's there and it's raw, at least what we're seeing here.
So, do you think it would be better served for the royal family to like drop the act and drop the perception and actually kind of allow people to see a little bit more into their family conflicts
No.
or do you think they really absolutely have to adhere to this, royal facade,
They have to adhere to the royal facade because they are celebrities. They are a firm, but they are celebrities, and they you have to have. They want. How do I say it?
Order.
They want order, but the public wants to see disorder in the order. That's what, it's almost like a symbiotic relationship. It seems like that the public just loves this contradiction to what the royal family is supposed to represent and how they always appear, because there's all this drama going on and people love drama itself.
Oh yeah.
So no, they have to hold on to it because it's what creates the drama when things don't match up.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And it's just so interesting, like these small little family dynamics, if you were to take them to like a macro level between nations, the little wars that show up within families create wars between nations. And we've seen this multiple times, especially with that royal family, let's be straight, compared to any other potential family on this planet. Wars start so easily at that. Don't you think it would be necessary for everyone to come to a mutual understanding of everybody's, psychology so that we could at least put an end to the conflict and actually understand where people are coming from instead of having these BS points of view of, hey, Harry, you need to be a lot more responsible because you're being irresponsible. Maybe you shouldn't be with Meghan. She's far too pragmatic, says like the ISFJ who's marrying the pragmatic because he's a hypocrite. That's right. Prince William is a hypocrite. Just saying. So like, come on.
But you're right. In that regard, Chase, you're absolutely right. We don't need the drama, but drama sells, and the facade is the tradition.
The facade is the tradition. How sad of a Western society we live in where lies are the literal tradition. Yeah. A plethora of me is asking, what's your point, Chase? Maybe you could outline that a little bit more. Okay. So JZZ says, thank you to notice my comment. I just started to watch yours from this year. The reason I said materialism, maybe not exactly correct, but what I mean, it is more realist than idealist because this world. Okay, so he's making the argument that Meghan Markle is far more realist than Kate Middleton, which I would have to agree with that because, Meghan Markle is a masculine woman. ESTP women are the most masculine women of all of the types. Do you think that challenges the most feminine of all the types? There's the ISFJ being the most feminine. So, and then you have the most feminine queen, followed by the most feminine prince. And then you have this major masculine force of Meghan Markle coming in, like that's crazy if you think about it, from a family dynamic,
That's right. And then you throw in all that said, Chase, and then that little salt of the nurture of the American culture on top of it, just, icing on the cake in a way.
Yeah. Those dirty Yanks.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty nuts. But yeah, I mean, I think we have gotten to a point now where we actually fundamentally understand the family dynamics of the royal family better than anyone else on this planet, and actually better than the royal family themselves. So as arrogant as that sounds for me to say, but I actually believe that's true. It's not from a point of arrogance, trust me. So any other areas we need to explore for this show, or?
Gosh, we covered it really well, Chase. It was
Right,
a lot of surprises, a lot of turns that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either, man. Like I went out of my way to not research anything about this ahead of time and do zero prep. Oh yeah.
Okay, all right.
Zero prep. I'm glad you did a lot of the prep, because I wanted to make sure a lot of my presuppositions were actually backed up by actual real events that were occurring. So,
well, and I realized that there's a little bit of bias in my assessments originally too. So,
well, hey, I was biased too. Don't worry, man. Like I was biased, you know, being pro Meghan, because I am married to an ESTP. I mean, I'll admit it. You know what I mean? So, so hey, can you take a look at him? Thank you. The puppy dog is expressing discontent because he doesn't like being alone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Well, maybe we need to let you go and spend some time with him and your wife and all.
All right, yeah, sounds good, man. I think we're gonna do that. Thank you all for watching, guys. It was fantastic. We're gonna be doing more of these in the future. Jay, I can't wait for what you come up for us next.
This was fun. This is going to be hard to beat, but this was a lot of fun.
I don't know, man. I think it's always going to get better and better from here. And by the way, guys, if you have any ideas as to what you guys would like us to cover, other family dynamics, or any kind of content in this same format, we're kind of doing something new. Please leave a comment below, and we'll definitely consider it. It'll give Jay an idea as to what he should focus on, because we got the way this is working is, he finds something, he does some research on it, becomes an expert on it, and then comes in, and then we just take it from there and see what's really going on. You know, kind of like a form of psychological investigative reporting. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So it's a lot of fun, Jay. I'm having a lot of time, and you know, hey, it's kind of like, you know, when you're at a wedding and you psychoanalyze everyone at the wedding, and the ceremony is actually happening in front of you, and you're literally telling the person next to you exactly how everything's going to go in bed later that night. You know, it's kind of like one of those situations. Let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, thanks, Chase.
Everybody, yeah, thank you, Jay. And everyone have a good night. And we'll see you guys next time. Later.